Hello and welcome back to the Star Family Wisdom podcast. I'm Jenna Layden, the founder of Star Family Wisdom and also a former global vice president for Whole Foods Market. Star Family Wisdom is a paradigm shifting podcast community and modern day mystery school for your spiritual and cosmic evolution. And in today's episode, I'm talking with Alan Steinfeld, who is a friend and colleague, and we interviewed him on the podcast last year at the very beginning of starting this podcast, and we talked about his ET experiences, some of the contact that has happened in his life on his journey. And, Alan's known for interviewing lots of people about their experiences. So we wanted to talk to him about his experiences and what led him into this field of ufology and ET contact. And this episode intended to be a little bit more about ET contact, but we spontaneously started talking about spiritual initiation and specifically the ancient Egyptian spiritual initiation processes that were led by the gods and goddesses that we now know were star beings who were interacting with humans on Earth. And we started talking about this, I think, because at Star Family Wisdom, we just launched a 7-week spiritual initiation course that was inspired by my contact and downloads with our Syrian star family. So I won't get into a ton of detail about the Syrians and how that contact has occurred in this episode. Nadia and I are going to talk about that in an upcoming episode and just explain a little bit more about how we connect with the various star family, various races of star family, why we're connected to various ones. And we'll talk a little bit more about our channeling process, because I haven't really talked about that with you, the audience, in great detail. It's, something I've been learning about and integrating as part of my journey and as part of my work as a shaman and what I'm doing with Star Family Wisdom. And in this conversation with Alan, it occurred to me about halfway through the conversation that we were being guided by our Syrian star family to have this specific conversation to introduce you to the process of spiritual initiation, to help activate your memories and connection with the ancient Egyptian process of spiritual initiation, and to introduce this new course to you. So throughout the course of this conversation, I just had so many moments of thinking, wow, how incredible that we're able to have this conversation today, and that Alan was able to share about his experiences in Egypt going through the temples that we talk about in the initiation course. In the course, you actually get a whole 30-minute guided meditation through the temples up the Nile, meant to activate your chakras, clearing heavy energies from your chakras, activating dormant energy, connecting new energies into your chakra system with the help of our Syrian star family, who were primarily the ones running the mystery schools and the initiation processes way back in the day. So we talk about this, and you get to hear Alan's experience. We actually play a little bit of the video from Alan's time at the Temple of Isis on Philae Island in Egypt. And if anyone watching this is feeling that call to return to your ancient memories of Egypt, to return to that time that you probably were present in, check out the video that Alan is playing in this podcast. We're going to link to it below in the show notes, and check out the newest course that we're launching. Again, it's the 7-week spiritual initiation process that is designed to shift energy in your field and upgrade energy in your field, and ultimately help us become the new human that we're here to become. The course is called the Goddess Isis Initiation and Syrian Energy Activation course, and you can get access to a free Syrian energy activation meditation below as well. Check out that link if you want to just start the process of connecting with our Syrian star family and see what happens after that. See what sort of activations might occur for you in terms of new information you're connecting with, in terms of energy you're feeling shifting in your field. This is also a really great way to create energetic protection around you. So at Star Family Wisdom, we're all about helping you learn how to shift and clear energy, like I said, and establish the balanced harmonic ratios of energy in our field, the geometry that is supposed to be present in our field to align with our higher selves, to align with the flow of energy in the universe, to align with our star family and receive their guidance and be guided by them in easeful ways. So we're here to help you do the work to become the new human. So this course is not a study, like an academic study on ancient Egypt. There's plenty of that out there. This is an experiential process where you're going to go through 7 stages, 7 gates of initiation, working with the energies of Goddess Isis, God Osiris, working with some of the Pleiadian energies that are connecting in with us now as well. And you'll get lots of exercises, practices, energetic transmissions, rituals, activations that are meant to help you in that process of transformation. So this conversation with Alan was perfect timing. And again, I think was very much set up by our Syrian star family. So you'll see them guide us in this conversation. And we have a special guest appearance by Dr. JJ Hertok. Alan was with JJ Hertok when we were doing this podcast episode. So we'll actually hear from Dr. Hertok about his time in Egypt, in the Great Pyramid, some of the sound and frequency technology work that he and his wife have done. And they'll also be with Alan and Neil Gar from Portal to Ascension this September in Egypt. There's a trip being coordinated and planned now. I hope to go. It's not confirmed yet, but join that if you're really feeling the call to return to this place of spiritual initiation. And if you don't have the means or ability to, get to Egypt physically, this newest course is going to give you the experience of moving through those temples up the Nile, give you the experience of connecting in with the energies of that land and with the energies of the beings that delivered the original initiation processes to Earth. So enjoy this conversation with Alan Steinfeld, and I'll see you on the other side. Yes. Hello, welcome, Alan. It's so good to see you again.
Well, thank you. I love what you're doing. Star Family Wisdom is a kind of paradigm to activate people to their star connections.
Yeah.
We're not really humans, we're ETs in human bodies.
Right. I said that to my mom recently because I got a new kitten at the end of last year, and this cat, I swear, is a total starseed cat. And then when my mom and I were talking about that, she said that too. And I said something about the outfit he picked, the outfit he chose to come to Earth in this time. So that's how I'm thinking of it now, the outfits that we're wearing, our bodies.
That would be a great business, starseed cats. I mean, that could
starseed pets.
Starseed pets, yes.
People have so many starseed pets. We think about it as like humans, but yeah, like our beings that are with us, they're buddies from other dimensions, other times, other places. I'm convinced my cats and I have absolutely, like, they are souls who have had experiences as star beings. Absolutely.
That is great. That is a great way of thinking about it.
So speaking of star seeds, I know you've been super busy over the last year. You released the Making Contact series, which we've got links to in the show notes for anyone who didn't get to access that yet. And you've like been on the scene with tons of star seeds at tons of events, and you are seeing the big picture of just how things are evolving. So I'd love to hear from you, like, since our last chat, what's evolving? What are you seeing in the community that's shifting and changing? Like, what are you thinking about for this year?
Yeah, I'm glad you asked that because you're right. There is something feels different about this year. I did this prediction show. People can look at that on my YouTube channel about these great astrologers, with these great astrologers, what they saw. And this is a time when Pluto's entering Aquarius. Aquarius is, I mean, I'm not really an astrologer, but Aquarius is the age we're coming into. And that is a star kind of destiny sort of planet. The other zodiac signs, the Piscean age was very much about drama. And we've had a lot of drama in the 20th century alone. So, and there's still a lot of problems going on. But as we move into the Aquarian age, and this is why the UFO world is connecting with the governments coming out with this, and there's more sightings worldwide. This is really the realization we're part of a bigger environment, the galactic, not the solar system, but one of the things I think 2012 did, that whole thing that came down with the Mayans, was saying like, yeah, we're in a bigger environment. People think, oh yeah, because that's all we really learn in elementary school, the solar system. But
Right.
when we discover that solar system is part of a bigger network of local galaxies, the I think they call it the Sirian cluster, because some people say our sun actually revolves around Sirius. And then what's our connection to that? And I just heard a talk by Gary Nolan, who's a geologist at Stanford, who says that DNA is older than the Earth itself. So we're connected to the stars. People say that in general, we're stardust. But the big thing I want to say in all these conferences I've done recently is there seems to be a culture emerging, a star people culture, if you
Yeah.
want to call it that. And you're very much a part of that.
Yeah, I got chills as you were talking about our DNA, and we were talking just before this about the shamanic initiation and the new Syrian energy activation course, and that's what we're doing. Like, this year is about activating our new human DNA. I just got huge chills when I said that. It's about turning on what has been suppressed and dormant in us.
And you know what? Speaking of Syrian, in the king's chamber of the Great Pyramid is the Syrian shaftway that points
Points.
directly to Sirius at a certain time of the night. And that energy is what I feel like the ancient Egyptians were really connecting to, Sirius. And it just so happens, I told you in the beginning of the show, we're taking a tour. Me, JJ, and Desiree Hurtak, Neil Gar, Portal to Ascension, Geraldine Orozco will be there, to Egypt. And you can find that out at Egypt Ascension Tour. Egypt Ascension Tour. I think that's it. I'll send you the link for
We'll
the
put the links. Yeah, we'll put the links in the show notes.
10 days in Egypt, but it's all about it. It's not like a tourist, isn't that pretty kind of site, that will be part of it. We're doing initiations in these temples that were made for initiation.
Yeah.
When you say initiation, at least what I mean is that another level of consciousness is activated. So we start to cognize reality in a more evolved perspective.
Yeah.
It's all about perception. Some people see the world through this way, and some people see it
Yeah.
through that way. And when you open your mind, it's not that you see more, it's that you think differently.
Yeah.
That's what the initiates were about, the great adepts going into these star chambers, downloading sacred frequencies, and then shifting their perspectives to be masters. We're here to
I
be masters.
I love that you're bringing this up because that is like the exact theme of the Goddess Isis initiation and Syrian energy course that we're launching. It's all about how we shift and clear all the heavy stuff we've been carrying so that we can activate all of that, those higher levels of consciousness. And I like to I say it sometimes like being able to see through the illusion of the physical. You know, you just start to see beyond the physical and you start to be able to read between the lines and see the symbology and everything, and sometimes start to see energy. I know that happened for you. You've been to Egypt quite a few times now,
Well,
right? Or just
it was
once?
I remember every single step of the journey. Well, I was also videotaping, but I remember every single temple, the feelings I had, and I mean, it just sticks with you. A journey to Egypt. It's not like a journey to Florida or the east of.
Much more profound, yes.
It's something I felt very familiar. I mean, maybe a lot of people do. I'm sure a lot of people do, but it felt like, oh yeah, I know this place, and
Yeah.
I just love the desert and places like that. So,
Ancient memories. It's like your ancient memories are triggered. You feel home there. You feel like
oh,
home. Yeah.
yes, I
Well, and
did go.
I'm for the audience, I'm hoping to go. I don't have it confirmed just yet, but I'm hoping to go on that trip. And a lot of the folks who are on the trip so far are also speaking at the Portal to Ascension conference in April in San Diego. So you'll be there, I'll be there,
Wow.
and it's I can't remember how many speakers, but something like 30 speakers, I think, over the course of a few days, a long weekend. It's going to be incredible, and that'll really tee up the Egyptian experience, I think, for anyone who's interested in going to Egypt. So we've got multiple opportunities for people to connect with us and come hang out with us this year.
In Egypt, yes, definitely come to Egypt. It's going to be epic because we have JJ and Desiree they've been there multiple times.
Yeah, yeah,
Actually, they found underneath the Giza Plateau, there are these tunnels. Giza Plateau is where the Sphinx and the Great Pyramids sit. And and here, JJ wants to say what he can I bring JJ on for a second?
sure.
Okay, JJ, can you just tell Jenna and her audience exactly what you found under the Giza Plateau
Hi,
here?
JJ. Guest,
Hi.
guest special appearance. Welcome.
So we were fortunate in using sound techniques and what is called ground penetrating radar. That is the radar that goes under the ground and bounces back in 1997 to discover what is called the tomb of Osiris. Osiris was the lord in the Egyptian traditions, or the master, who brought music to the planet in prehistory. And so, ironically, using music and using acoustics, we were able to discover this marvelous tomb of Osiris. Now, the meaning of that is when the tomb of Osiris is found, the world is going to go into a major change. And the masters from the stars who inspired the building of the Great Pyramid will bring us somehow into a new phase of life and understanding. The Great Pyramid is a mathematical cipher for the distance between our Earth, the sun, and a whole variety of other relationships. But the bottom line here is we're going to be able to explore what I and Desiree found in 1997. And 2 years after that, there was a Fox television special, it was worldwide, with Murray Povich, a famous announcer, that was put by a man who was head of all of the archaeological,
Zahiwa.
Mr. Zahiwas. Of course, the Egyptians took credit for our find because we were not given permission to excavate, so we had to turn over our finding to them. But he said, incidentally, there was a group 2 years before that discovered this work. So he was basically telling us indirectly that we were the ones who made this amazing, probably the most important find in modern Egyptian history. So we're going to explore this in depth during the program that we're all connected with in September.
Yeah, the tour in September.
Let's invite people who are serious students of Egyptology and the stars to sign up if possible and to make that reservation, because we're going to hit the high points.
We are. It's going to be an epic tour with JJ, who knows that place better from an esoteric, metaphysical perspective,
and astronomy.
and astronomy, and sound technology, actually.
We're going to do some of that.
Great.
JJ, can I ask you a quick question before we let you go? So
Okay.
when you've been
So
doing
what's your question?
when you've been doing the sound work in the pyramid, have you ever had visitation from any beings? Have you ever interacted interdimensionally or otherwise? What have those experiences
We
been
have
like?
that amazing event in the 1993. We're actually, before the Osiris finding, we were doing music inside the King's Chamber and inside what is called the Great Passageway, the Grand Gallery, inside the pyramid itself. And our song and musical techniques were so powerful that suddenly the Great Pyramid was filled with golden light. And we took a picture.
Yeah.
We have put it on music cassettes called The Opening of the Great Pyramid.
Beautiful.
It was a sign to us that there was a higher dimension that would open, golden light, that people who had the right musical training and the right meditation training could achieve. So to answer your question, yes, we had the experience of what I would call with one of the master teachers that provided the golden light phenomena. Actually, the Egyptian guards got afraid when this began to take place because the pyramid began to shake, which would explain that the pyramid, like many of the ancient structures, was built on a musical concept. That if you use the right vibration, dimensional doors open or other experiences of light take place.
Stargates, yeah. I had a really interesting meditation experience last year where I found myself in the King's Chamber in the sarcophagus. And so I was really deep in meditation, and all of a sudden, I think it was an astral journey that happened, and I'm in the sarcophagus. A group of beings are around me. They close the lid. All of a sudden, the lid comes off, and I get out of the sarcophagus, and I'm in a pyramid, but it's not this one on Earth. It's a different pyramid, and I was surrounded by these other beings. It felt to me like what had happened was the sarcophagus is some sort of stargate where it can connect you interdimensionally with some other planet, some other sarcophagus. What do you know about that sort of thing, JJ?
Coming out this year called Sound, S-O-U-N-D, Sound. And I describe my experience. I also give mathematics and physics for those who are interested in how waves can propagate under certain conditions to provide paraphysical experiences. So those of you who are listening to our dialogue, please go to our website, keysofenoch.org, acquire a book called Giza's Industrial Complex, G-I-Z-A, Giza's Industrial Complex, that explains the musical research and some of the other fantastic research that's going on. Look for a new book later this year that will be published. I don't know the name of the publishers yet, but we'll have it on our website.
Awesome.
Thank you, JJ.
Awesome. Thank you, JJ. So good to see you.
Yes, so that's some of what we have to expect in Egypt. Well, when I saw the picture of the Grand Gallery, which is you go through these little tunnels when you enter the pyramid, and then it opens up into like a 3 or 4 story hallway, and that is the Grand Gallery that leads into the King's Chamber. And the King's Chamber is where that sarcophagus is. And then I saw a picture of that being illuminated with the sound technologies that they were using. But the sarcophagus in the King's Chamber was a teleportation device. What they would do in ancient times would actually put a lid on the sarcophagus that's completely stone. There's no way anyone could move that. And you'd have to get out of the sarcophagus by transporting your body. That's what one of the final tests for the ancient initiates were, to somehow which is what you did, and you probably have a memory of doing that from a lifetime, was get out by transporting your body someplace else. So you passed that initiation.
Yeah, it happened again in this life. Yeah, it's so interesting. Yeah, the sensory deprivation is a big part of our ability to experience ourselves differently and experience the void and the quantum field and astral travel and access memories. And yeah, it seems like the sensory deprivation experiences were really important in those ancient initiation processes. Yeah.
That's really what the ancient initiations were about, disconnecting from the physical world. Because I was in a mystery school for years, and the mystery school with this ascended master teacher would take us through the practices of the ancient adepts. And through these practices, we would start to see through our blindfolds. We would start to really navigate with a higher sense. So that's one thing. And then teleportation, mind over matter, looking at a deck of cards face down, there's a practice, and seeing the cards. And you really, if you stare at that deck, and I couldn't believe this was happening with candles at candlelight, you're just staring there. You start to see these cards floating up, and you start to see what's on the other side of the card. And it's the easiest thing to do is to know whether it's a picture card or a number card. That's the first thing. And if you do it long enough, you could see, okay, are they hearts, or are they black or red? And then you see, are they hearts or diamonds? So it's practice, it's practice, but that is only a practice to make you much more psychic on many, many levels. So these practices of the ancient schools were to build the muscles of the extra senses, the higher senses that we have.
And we should
what's that?
say for people who aren't aware, just by going in the pyramids and temples in Egypt, especially the pyramid, because of how it's constructed geometrically, that alone has an effect on your energy field and shifts the geometry in your energy field to even turn on more of those psychic abilities. And for those who, maybe don't have the ability or means to go to Egypt, our Goddess Isis initiation course is designed to give you similar experiences so that you can do some of this initiation work at home to shift your field and open up that sensory perception. So there's all different ways. That's what's so cool about, I think, like what's happening with the Starseed community these days is we've got all of these different ways people are getting activated and healing and transforming. And then a trip to Egypt is like icing on the cake.
Like Isis on the cake. Is that what you mean?
Isis on the cake. I love it.
Oh, but actually, can I show you a little bit of my Isis trip? And I'll send you this video.
Sure.
Because when I went in 1991, it was epic. This is the old picture of Isis. Oh, the sound is not okay. Mother of all things. Oh, mother of all things. Oh, mother of all things. Oh, mother of all things.
In ancient Egypt, a person seeking the path of knowledge would first go to the temple of Isis in the Upper Nile. There they would ask the permission of the Divine Mother to proceed on the path of initiation.
Beautiful. Oh God, I got chills the whole time. I got chills the whole time JJ was talking, and I got chills the whole time that was playing.
I was saying that whole temple complex, stone by stone, was moved when before the Nile was flooded with the Aswan Dam. So it was moved to the temple, the Isle of Philae, from its original setting. And what my group did, supposedly, was pull the energy in 1991 from the old island to the new island to get those Isis energies in the activation chambers there.
Amazing.
So you go in, you get off the boat, you go through this great courtyard, then you go to the outer chamber where we did some initiation practices, and then we went into the inner chamber. And in the inner chamber on that trip, this woman spontaneously started to channel Isis. It just started to come through.
Wow.
You'll see that in the video. It's really beautiful.
Wow.
She knew what was happening. She wasn't like total, but she just walked through and was giving everyone blessings as they came up to the altar.
Mm.
It was really a magical, magical moment.
Mm.
Mm.
Mm. I love this.
Yes.
I love this conversation, Alan. This is so like special for me right now because of the work I've been doing with the Isis energy and just reconnecting with these, memories of ancient Egypt. Last year was when I really started to access, all of the memory and all of the just knowing of my time in Egypt and the initiation processes that took place. So it's been a fun journey getting to this point where I'm, now offering it to others. And I'm here, and we did not plan this, by the way, for the audience. We did not exactly plan on talking about Egypt today, but clearly it wanted to happen. Clearly Isis and Osiris are guiding the conversation.
Yes. So this conversation is really about ancient initiation.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's why we're going to Egypt for reenact. Sometimes in some lifetimes, the initiate gets so far and they're come back to complete their level of human initiation. And I think a lot of us are returning to these ancient temples because we know there's a part of us that is here to complete the human cycle.
Yeah.
Human incarnational cycle, because we are ancient initiates.
I was just about to ask you why you think it's important right now to engage in these processes. And you just talked about karmic completion. Like it's like we're wrapping up like eras and eras of karma in this lifetime at this point, it feels like.
Yeah, because the earth, this is just my feeling, is about to shift its vibrational field out of one-dimensional reality, if you want to call it that, into the next. So the karmic cycles of that dimensional reality have to be owned, which means you have to make peace with that. Then the doors to these next dimensional realities and the karmic cycle, or really no karma once you get off the third dimensional wheel, but the intentional manifestation of those higher minds become activated. So you go to the next level of initiation, of course, but there's a completion that is rolling itself up, let's say, this moment in history. It's this, I wouldn't say final hour, but it's the densities are changing. That's why there's more UFO sightings. That's why people are connecting to their star family and star family wisdom, because the Egyptians originally, that was the part why they were initiates, because they knew they were here to reconnect with their star family.
Yeah.
So when we do that and we bring that star family wisdom in to the incarnational form, the planet is also assisted in raising its vibrational frequency. It is doing that anyway, but we're living inside the earth. These earth bodies are here to become stars. We're here. That's ascension. When we can turn the earth into a star, we've ascended the physical realm and changed our genetic frequencies, activated the biophotonic potential within each cell to be really like these.
Right. And
So-
we're doing the work right now to just get to the next stage of our evolution. It's like we're being prepared to be that new human that's going to usher in the next era of humanity and help clean this up on Earth.
You already are that new human, right?
Yeah,
I
we
mean,
all are. We all are here doing this work and having this
you
conversation.
in particular, and many of us maybe, but you know, you left the mainstream world where you were very 3D, and now you had this awakening of mind that you are the new you, that you wouldn't even, that person, whoever you were back then with Whole Food, would never even recognize.
Nope. Nope. The consciousness shift that is possible. Oh my goodness. And I know a lot of people are going through this. You know, I talked to someone earlier today who's in the midst of their awakening, and it's a lot to process. You know, when you're going from, you know, that very mainstream, you know, state of consciousness to having so much more expansion, you know, open up for you, like that's just a lot for the brain to shift and process and integrate, and it can be overwhelming, you know, for people.
I don't think you're given more than you can handle, so it
True.
may seem overwhelming, and it's a lot, yes, but well, this is the time.
But it's necessary. It's the time. And that's exactly what we talked about. It's like, this is the time. We have to do it. You know, it's like, it can be a little uncomfortable in the process, but we have to do this. We have to expand
You
and
have to
allow
do it.
ourselves.
Go back and go into recycled ignorance, as my teacher would say.
Mm.
You can go back, and you don't have to do it. I think it's much easier to do it than not do it. Some people say it's hard, but it's much easier than living in the old reality.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, and we're here to, you're providing your platform and your schools and your mystery schools to make it easier for people.
Yeah. To get, you know, it's helpful to have these processes. Like we're talking about initiation processes that existed in ancient times, and these structures, you know, for spiritual awakening and initiation existed to help people through that. You know, I think what's been kind of missing at times in our modern era is that's not been accessible for everyone in the right way. So it can be just overwhelming and, you know, difficult to navigate without that. So I'm glad we have so much of that coming back now.
That's why we're providing these platforms. I
Yeah.
mean, because you're there, and you've just been activated recently to this ISIS awareness, right?
Yeah. Last year was the big year it came through. Yeah.
How'd you find it?
You know, it was, well, you know, I had, you know, Adam Apollo. So Adam Apollo and I met last year, and I had already been accessing lots of past life memories. I had already accessed some lifetimes from Egypt. I had already accessed memories from being a leader in the Eleusinian mystery schools in Greece. So I already knew, you know, some of my soul history, but Adam and I have really extensive soul history together. I think he talked about that at the Star Beings conference, since I couldn't be there. And when we met, for both of us, that activated new layers of memories that we were able to then integrate and, you know, process. And that's been really cool, you know, having that experience. You know how that is when you meet certain people, that can be an activator because you shared a period of time as souls together. And so yeah, it was thanks to Adam Apollo that
A connection, a past connection somewhere, don't you think?
what's that?
I think we have a connection
Oh, yeah.
somewhere.
Yeah,
Maybe
for
it's
sure.
Greece. Maybe I get, when you said Eleusinian mysteries, I have a clear memory of the Eleusinian mysteries, you know, and what that was, and what those the council people, the Hierophants, were doing behind the scenes to make the initiates experience
Yeah.
potent, you know, and so I
Well,
don't
the
know.
Eleusinian schools were really the later versions of what started with the ISIS, you know, initiation schools in Egypt. And the fact that we are spontaneously having this conversation today makes me think we absolutely were together in Egypt, and then we probably carried that forward to Greece at one point, and then we've now reconnected it here together in what we're doing.
Right. I think when it went from Egypt with ISIS to Greece, it became more male-based, even though it became the Apollo, Temple of Apollo at Delphi and some other oracles, but it was always the priestesses that were the oracles that would bring the message through from probably ISIS. I'm sure it was really an ISIS cult originally,
Yeah,
that
absolutely. And yeah, the patriarchal structures had started to take over, and it was around the time of Jesus, I guess, that's really when the purity of some of the ancient, initiation practices were really just deteriorating and changing. And yeah, it's been really interesting to access those memories. And one of my memories that I accessed last year, that was one of the very last points of some of these even divine birth cults or traditions where these initiates and priestesses were working to bring star beings to earth to activate their bodies in a way where they could channel really high vibrational energy. That memory that I had of doing that in a lifetime was around the time of Jesus, so about 2,000 years ago.
probably an Essene, because part of the Essene practices was doing the experiment, is my feeling, of bringing Jesus in as a star being. So that was an experiment that actually succeeded when the Essenes connected to I would say, the God beyond the Old Testament God.
Yeah, yeah. Marguerite Rigoglioso has done a lot of really good work on this. For anyone who's interested in this topic, she's researched the priestess cults and traditions extensively, and has a great book that talks about Mary and Mary being a priestess and having been trained. Mary was trained to deliver Jesus to the world.
A priestess within the Isis tradition. And I also think Mary Magdalene, this is my feeling, in the temple of Abydos, which was a temple dedicated to Osiris, there's one of these hieroglyphics on the wall of Isis putting the phallus back on Osiris. It's like her hand and that was the last part of the body of Osiris to come back. His body was cut up, this is the myth, by his brother into 14 pieces. The last part to come back was the phallus. And when the phallus was complete, she had intercourse with that, and in her, she merged with Osiris, and Isis is what some people say, became one being, two beings in one body, and that became the divine birth of Horus.
Horus, yeah.
Horus was like the divine Christed child of Isis and Osiris, and but all the women, I think, in the Essene tradition were trained within the priestess of Isis, the priesthood of Osiris. So when Mary Magdalene, it says, was the first to see Jesus when after the crucifixion. I mean, I'm not really a New Testament scholar, but I know those stories. And Mary Magdalene, who I think was probably married to Jesus, at least that's what the Da Vinci Code and many people say, although JJ doesn't agree with that, but I do. I think Mary Magdalene reactivated the body of Jesus the way Isis reactivated the body of Osiris. So within that tradition of Isis, Mary Magdalene was able to resurrect and help. I mean, of course, it came through all that, but I think that was part of the reactivation of the resurrection, let's say it, the body of Jesus, which is actually, I have to say, photographed in the Shroud of Turin. Have you ever seen the Shroud of Turin?
No.
You know what that is?
Yes.
But you've never seen a picture of that?
I don't think, well, not recently, not that I'm remembering.
That is a photographic imprint of this is what I believe, and of the body of Jesus being charged with light. So there's an impression on the linen, the actual linen cloth, and Jews are still buried in linen, but on this linen, which has been around for 2,000 years, there's the impression of a face of a man that looks very much like the the pictures of the portraits of Jesus that were done for the churches. And there was some documentary out, why do all the pictures of Jesus look the same? Look pretty much. He has a long face with a long nose, and some scholars think they were using the image from the cloth or the Shroud of Turin to paint those, even going back from medieval times, because no one really knows what Jesus looked like, if he even existed. But there's this picture of Jesus on the cloth that became a kind of archetypal picture of that, because the body was resurrected and turned into light. And in that, the image was imprinted into the Shroud of Turin. And going back to Mary Magdalene, I think, and it's actually in some gospel, who was the first to see Jesus, or to find that the tomb was empty, but I think she was very much a part of the resurrection of the spirit. This is just my feeling.
It would make sense, because if Jesus's mother, right, had been trained in these really high level spiritual initiation practices to activate her light body and her own ability to biologically, spontaneously, seed herself, right, to be able to deliver Jesus as a virgin mother, right? Jesus was brought into that lineage, right? Jesus was raised by people who understood those practices, and he was in a group of people, right, that would have been trying to perpetuate that, but there was also this like major patriarchal control and unrest happening, and so all of the ability to preserve those practices and teachings was just getting washed away, right? And everyone had to go into hiding, and so it would make sense that Mary Magdalene would have higher level abilities than the average person of that time.
Well, it also goes directly back to Isis and the resurrection of Osiris. So and this, just other people have said this too. I think they even say this in the Magdalene manuscripts by Judy Coteen, that she had the knowledge of how to resurrect the body of Jesus, who lived his whole life as an initiate. I mean, the final initiation for Jesus really was to bring the body back to life, to reanimate the body. I mean, you don't have to go that way. You can go right to ascension, but I think he wanted to show that the spirit is immortal, and that, but
well, and even outside of the like physical process of reanimating a body, there's all this beautiful metaphor in these stories, and in the story of divine birth and resurrection, and our ability as souls to be reborn in the body we're in, right, as higher level expressions of our soul energy, and to bring in more light. That's why you see the light around Jesus in so many pictures, because he was holding and emanating so much light because of the work he had done in initiation practices. He was just a human who then learned how to become a master himself and activate his God force, power and ability.
Well, I think he was an initiate from many lifetimes, like many of us. I mean, there's some people listening, and probably they're not listening, that have no idea what we're talking about because they're not on the path of initiation.
But if you're still here, you're on the path of initiation. Let's just be clear.
Everyone really is on the path of initiation. You just don't know it.
Yeah.
That's it. But we know it because we have a soul memory that we're here for the initiation into higher consciousness. This is why we're now leading the new paradigm, let's say, of what that is all about with Star Family Wisdom. That's one way it's happening. And that's why it's so important you're doing what you're doing, because you are the high priestess that is bringing people through the initiation of conscious awakening to something beyond the human drama.
Yeah.
That's what the Piscean age and all the ages before that was, to really own the human drama.
Yeah.
to really get embodied into the feeling, the emotional body, really get that one down, really feel what it's like to emote, to feel, I mean, emotions, drama is when you get caught up in the same cycle, and it's like you don't get off that little wheel. But we're here to feel, we're here to actually, every moment is a feeling experience, and it's encoded in the soul, or the Akashic record, people say, but it's really the soul as knowledge, as experience.
Yeah.
And these great moments where the soul says, yes, that's another rung up the ladder to pull me to the bigger awareness. So there's involution, which is descending into the body and the solidity and the density of consciousness. And then there's evolution.
Mm.
It's actually a painting by Hilma of Klint, the Swedish artist who was a theosophist, and Rudolf Steiner person who names it involution, the energy going down from the top of the pyramid, and evolution, the energy going up. So we descended from non-density into density, and then back from the density. Bashar says, this is as dense as it gets, so make sure you get all of it, because this is your last chance for
Yeah,
density.
get your fill. We're lightening up now. We're lightening up.
You've done this one, so make sure you get you're as dense as you can. Just own it all, because, and then evolution of consciousness is then moving back up the ladder with the wisdom of incarnation.
Right, right.
All the wisdom you learned as being an executive at Whole Foods was not just wasting your time to get here, but you were encoding the human dimension, all that comes with it, as owning the human experience.
Right, right, right. And we need to experience, all aspects of it, right? Before we graduate, before we, move through that final completion process, like you're talking about, so many of us doing in this lifetime. And I love that you talk about ascension as evolution, because I think so many of us get caught up on this idea of this like really big fast ascension, and really it's like, if you're evolving, if you're growing, if you're learning, if you're breaking those old patterns, you're ascending, like you're doing it. That is the ascension process.
There's no like I want to escape and ascend. There you just bought yourself another lifetime, if that's
Exactly.
no, there's no, it's like you're not what a Ramtha, who was a teacher of mine, says, everyone wants to ascend and no one wants to live. No, ascension comes from a life well lived. That's
Oh, I
Ramtha.
love that. I love
Yes.
that quote of the year. Ascension comes from a life well lived.
Which means you felt and owned and took responsibility for every single moment that's encoded in your Akashic records, and the good, the bad, and the ugly. You have owned that and said, yes, I know what that feels like. And then you can look at everyone, everyone, the young and the old, the rich and the poor, and men and women. You could say, yes, I've been that. I know that. I know what that feels like. And if you come across something you don't know, then you study that. But that's only half of it. The other reason, this is just my philosophy, and it's also something Ramtha says that I don't think anyone really ever really understood, is that we're here to make known the unknown.
I love that. Yeah.
What does it mean to you?
To make known the unknown.
Yes.
To
I'm not
embody,
saying
I think, to me, like what just comes to mind initially is that's like to just embody more of who we really are, because so much of what is unknown to us as humans in this third dimensional experience is the truth of who we are and our source and those higher vibrational emanations that can come from us. And so it's like that's been the unknown, and we can embody more of that and bring that into our experience of reality.
Exactly. That's part of it. I'm not saying I have the right answer. I don't know. I'm just guessing. Part of it, as I see it, and what you said was great, is that we're also the fingertips of God.
Mm-hmm.
God only knows what we know in a sense. I mean, in a very kind of general sense, because as we create, as we become the creators in this realm, creating art or music or workshops or something, we're pulling in more information that hasn't been here before, so people can experience even greater levels of emotion, of feeling.
Right.
And when we write a song or create something new, which is full of feelings, that allows people to experience more. So we're here to experience new feelings, we're pushing the envelope of the unknown because we are experiencing we're bringing in more feeling sense into the human experience. We're here to feel. So that's my understanding of the reason of initiation.
I love it.
One of my favorite books about this is called The Red Lion. Do you know The Red Lion?
No, I've not read that one.
My God, that is the book for initiates.
Okay, well,
Red Lion. It was originally written in Hungarian by Maria Sapas. There's actually a reading of it on Brian Scott's YouTube channel. I actually recommend it. I have very
beautiful
with that book, I have to say. I found that book in a outhouse in Hawaii. Who bought this? That was there in Maui because this woman who knew that she was going to die or something, bought that book for all her friends who performed this.
Oh, wow.
Ritual. And that book was left in the outhouse that I used in Maui. And then I brought that book to the Ramtha School, and it was going out of print in English. And somebody I knew bought the rights and saved that book from being lost in the ages.
You know, it kind of feels like the universe has a sense of humor when we're on this spiritual journey and we're going through the steps of initiation, like finding the initiation book in the outhouse, you know? It's like there's just all these little moments that happen in life like that just seem kind of silly and funny, but are meaningful at the same time because it you know pushes you on the path and gets you to take the next step.
The universe totally has a sense of humor.
Love it.
So, and if we don't want to lose our sense of humor.
I joke with the universe all the time now, and so if anyone like ever sees me talking to myself, if I'm out in public, that's usually what I'm doing. I'm just talking to the universe and having a conversation. And I was telling a friend recently when I had one of those moments of just like seeing the humor in life and how things unfold. I like winked at the universe. I was like, I see what you're doing here. I see how this works.
Jenna, you are the universe.
Well, I know, but isn't that also the humor in it too? Like winking at yourself?
You know, it's so weird. I just said your name was Jenna. I get these doubling effects where I talk to two people in the same day. I just talked to this woman named Jenna before. Who
Oh, wow.
The crystal skull. And it's like, that happens. I talk to two people or they get the email. I don't know why that is, but it's a kind of synchronicity.
Yeah,
Up to me in names. And it happens all the time with different names. I get like 3 emails from someone named Steve, and they're all stacked up on my email list, all from different people emailing me the same day. I mean, it's kind of ordinary, but I think it's always strange.
Patterns. There's some connection there.
About synchronicities that are about this other level. Yes.
Well,
Well,
and I think that's a fun thing, to kind of maybe wrap up on, the benefits of going through the spiritual initiation process. Alan, you've been on the journey for a while now, and you've been you've been an initiate for many lifetimes. So, what to you are some of those fun benefits that you are now finding in life? Like what has changed for you as you've gone through this process?
well, just one of the fun benefits, Deborah Giusti, she's writing a
Uh-huh.
book, Tips to Ascension, or the benefits of, I mean, I said, well, what about the benefits of ascension? I said, one of the benefits of ascension, once you ascend the body, turn into light, is no more laundry. So anyway,
Well,
just
that's a benefit of getting off the karmic wheel. No more laundry on earth.
no more eating out, it's like eating light. No more
Oh,
waiting in lines. Just
I love it.
imagine.
But what you
So
just talked about, synchronicity, like that level of flow and feeling magic just happen in your life, the universe just bringing you the right things at the right moment.
and then it's like every moment, it's about, like you said, patterns. But if you are really tuned in, synchronicities or coincidence, a coincident is happening every moment. So if you really expand it like that, I could find the coincidence of everything in every moment, which means multiple levels of reality are flowing through your awareness, which has you linked to all these other realms. So was it planned that I talked to two women named Jenna, like right in a row? I mean,
No, was it planned that we were going to talk all about Egypt and initiation today? No. Amazing. The universe just knows how to move us through life when we've done the work to shed some of that density. The density prevents us from flowing, with life in the way that we really want to.
but who is the universe? Where is that intelligence, that consciousness? What is that consciousness?
It's all around us. It's all around us, and and we are it too. And so it's our job to be in sync with it, right? Like we are individual units of consciousness within the larger unit of consciousness, and we want to be in sync with that larger unit of consciousness. But in the third dimension, it gets really easy to get out of sync with that.
Well, it's like some people think they are the embodiment of Isis, or they connect to the archetype of Isis. And what I say to those people, and there's other archetypes, like I'm like an archetype of the Hermes, Hermetic,
Yeah.
Mercury. That's what I identify with. But in reality, you're not an archetype. This is what I'm just saying. This is my truth. That those great beings, you're a fractal of those greater beings. Like you, as Isis, are a branch of a tree that is actually the Isis essence. So it's not archetypal at all. I think that's a psychological misunderstanding. You actually are the fractal of that Isis. And the more you get away from the Jenna-laden personality, nothing wrong with the personality, but once you start to lose the identification, you merge more with the Isis energy, you move more closer to the trunk of that tree, where the total embodiment of that divine essence flows through you as Isis.
Right. That's ego dissolution is what we're talking about. And like that's part of the process of spiritual initiation, is to do the work to really dissolve our ego as much as we can in this life, and allow those greater forces, emanations of the divine to, become us. So yeah, I love that we're ending on that note, the like embodying more of our divine nature, embodying more of our wholeness, really.
Because we are it. We've just forgotten the aspects that we are. Not forgotten. I don't think forgotten is the right word. I think we are here to remember density, to bring it back to source.
We're
So
here to make it known again. Yeah.
yes, we're making known the unknown.
Yeah, I love it. Alan, thank you for this conversation. Thank you for being here again. It was so good to see you. I've missed you.
Also, I'll be back in Sedona, well, March, for the Sedona Recension.
Yes, we'll see each other then.
be there next week, but I'll be there for a couple of months for sure.
Okay, cool. We'll get together. We'll have another chat.
See you in Egypt too, right?
Yes, yes, and Egypt coming up. And for those who are interested in the Egypt trip, for those who are interested in the Portal to Ascension conference in April or the ISIS initiation course that's now available on Star Family Wisdom, check out the links below. And we also have a link to Alan's Making Contact series, which you can join. You can, I think, get the first episode free and try it out. So definitely check that out if you missed it last year.
$25, you get 6, that's like 20 hours of video for $25. And it's not seen anywhere right now, although at some point we might make it public. We don't know when. So yes.
Thank you, Alan.
Jenna, it was beautiful.
Have an amazing rest of your day, everyone. Thank you for being here. Don't forget to comment. Let us know what you thought about this chat and check out the links so that you can be with us this year and so we can further our initiation together. Bye for now.